Hi guys, welcome to day 2 of our review this week. We're just gonna do more of the same of yesterday with decimal and fractional tenths and hundredths. But now we're gonna have what happens. Now we're gonna look at what happens when you have, say, we have a fraction that's a mixed number, or a fraction that's greater than one, or a decimal that's greater than one. And how do we convert those? And how do we count by decimals to get to the next whole? We're just going to start with the fraction conversion. Something we had yesterday. Let's something we know we can easily do. So say we have 3/10. And I want to put 3/10 onto my place value chart, just so I can see, just so we can see what it looks like as a decimal. So 3/10. That's easy. Do we have any tens? No. Do we have any ones? No. Got to put our decimal. And how many tenths do we have? Well, we have 3 of them, so that's easy. So if I wanted to convert this to a decimal, I know I'd have 0, I'd have 0.3 or 3/10, 0.3. But what happens, say this is not just 3/10, say it's a mixed number. We'll put a 2 here. So 2 and 3/10. Now we have a number that's greater than 1. So this number is between 2 and 3. And so it's just more or less the same thing. It's very simple. We see our 3/10 here. How many tenths do we have? 3. And then this time, though, this isn't going to be a 0. We don't have 0 ones. How many ones do we have? We have 2. And then do we have anything in the tens place? Nope, we just have a 1. Something in the ones. So 0 tens. Do we have any hundredths? Nope. Not that we don't have hundredths, because we could also say 3/10 or 30 hundredths, if we remember from yesterday, because every 1/10 equals 10 hundredths. But we would just say 3/10. So 2.3, 2 and 3/10. All right, now let's look at, say we have an even bigger fraction. This time we have 12 and 23. I feel like my handwriting's getting just a little bit neater on here. Is it looking good? 12 and 23 hundredths. And so, same thing. Now we just gotta, do we have anything in the tens place? Let's look at our numbers. Yes, we have this 1 right here. Now, 1's not just a 1, it's actually 10. So, yes, we have 1/10. Do we have anything in ones place? We have a 2. Do we have anything in the tenths place? Well, it looks like we got 23 hundredths. So we remember from yesterday, if we pulled out 10 hundredths, we could pull out another 10 hundredths for 20 hundredths. And every 10 hundredths equals a tenth. So yes, we have 2 tenths. Or you can just look at this fraction and say, I'm going to put the first digit in the tenths place, the second digit in the hundredths place. So we have 2 tenths. And if we took out that 2 tenths, we'd have 3 hundredths left over. Make sure we put our decimal, or we just say we have 12 and 23 hundredths. That's fine to say too. 12.23, that would be our decimal conversion. 12 and 23 hundredths, so now we know we go 2 spaces after the decimal, and that's our hundredths place. So let's look at one more. We'll do one more together. How about do a bigger number? I'll do 72 and 60 hundredths. Well, this should be pretty easy to put into the place value chart. Let's go. How many tens do we have? We have 7. How many ones do we have? 2. Decimal. And then 60 hundredths. 60 hundredths. So if I'm saying, well, how many hundredths do I have? I'm not going to write a 60 right here, right? Would I put 60 here? Not really, because then we'd have 72.060. And that would just be 72 and 6 hundredths. And we don't have 6 hundredths, we have 60 hundredths, right? So this would not be right. Just want to make sure we understand this. So remember, we can either think of it like, well, how many 10 hundredths do I have? 10 hundredth, 20 hundredth, 30 hundredth, 40 hundredth, 50 hundredth, 60 hundredth. How many 10 hundredths do I have? I have 6 if I took all those out. Say I kept taking all those 10 hundredths out, I would have 6 of those. And then we knew from yesterday that every 10 hundredths equals 1/10. And it equals 1/10 because it would take 10 1/10ths to make one whole, and it would make 10 hundredths to make one whole. So they're the same amount. Or we can convert them using multiplication like we did yesterday. So this 60 hundredths, I'd yet have to put it, it's technically also 6/10ths. Or I could just think of it like this. If that's confusing for you, just put that first digit in the tenths place and put that second digit in the hundredths place. 72, so 72 and 60 hundredths. Oop, that's that's my 7. Take it back. I'm not getting neater with my handwriting on this. 72 and 60 hundredths. Or, so 72 and 60 hundredths, or saying the same thing if we say 72 and 6/10ths. And so technically nothing's even here, so we wouldn't even have to write that. But if it helps you understand that that was hundredths, go feel free to do that. All right, one more thing I want to look at together. So when we're counting by tenths, or when we're counting by tenths right here, these two are tenths, these two rows. Or if we're counting by hundredths down here, just want to look at like what that looks like when we get kind of toward the end, where we're getting to that next whole number. So if I was to continue with these tenths, I'd have 7/10ths, 8/10ths, 9/10ths, and then I would go 10/10ths, or we know 10/10ths equals one whole. So that's why it goes to this. Or just think of it like, just like if we were counting by regular ones, we have this 9, our next number would be 10, and this 9 becomes a 0, and we put 1 in the tens place. Except we're getting to that 9, we're putting our 1 in the ones place, and then our tenths place becomes 0. The same counting. And if we were to continue, it'd be 1 and 1/10. Oh, not 2 and 1/10, excuse me. 1 and 2/10. Then we keep going. And eventually, if we kept going, we get to 1 and 7/10, 1 and 8/10, get to 1 and 9/10. And then what would come next in this sequence? Well, we'd look at this number, our tenths place. This would become a 0. And then we add a whole new one whole. Do you see that? We built up to another whole. We got to the next whole. So this 1 would become a 2. And then in the tenths, we have 0. And if we kept going, it'd be 2 and 1/10, 2 and 2/10. And the pattern would just keep going. We could keep counting up forever. So, and it's kind of the same thing with the hundredths, except instead of that tenths place becoming 0, and we're adding one new whole. Our hundredths place will become a 0, and we're adding a whole new tenth. So we got 99 hundredths here. 90. Well, we're 1/100th away from the next whole. So if we add one more, we get 100 hundredths or one whole. One whole. These are the same number. And then what happens if we kept going? If we kept counting up by 100ths, we'd have 1 in 100th, and eventually we get to 1 in 97 hundredths, 1 in 98 hundredths, 1 in 99 hundredths, and then 200 hundredths, or 2. 2 holes. So I hope this looks like a lot up here, but it's just simple counting. So we're going to do that, a little bit of this today, and then we're also going to look at just converting now fractions and decimals that are greater than 1. So mixed numbers, basically. We're going to convert mixed numbers into their decimal forms. So good luck with that. If you have any questions, I'm on Google Classroom now, so I'll be able to help you out. Share this video. I got to stop this video soon. And one more thing you're going to see on the work today, if this loads. You may have remembered we did this a little while back. It's just representing a fraction greater than 1. We're going to use the little these like 10 blocks. You just have to copy and paste them to make the fraction. If you guys remember how to do that, it's very simple. So good luck with that, and I will talk to you guys soon.